Adrian Blake had always considered himself healthy. He was 30 years old, in decent shape, worked a steady job in IT, and while he wasn't the kind of guy who spent hours in the gym or ran marathons, he never thought much about hospitals. A routine checkup on a Tuesday afternoon was supposed to be nothing more than an annoyance, something to tick off his to-do list before heading back to the office. Instead, it was the day his world shifted. The doctor's voice was calm, steady, almost practiced when he said, "We found something during the scan, Adrian. It looks like a mass on your kidney. We'll need to run more tests to be sure, but it's something we'll likely have to remove." Adrian sat there numb, the sterile white of the exam room suddenly too bright, the hum of the fluorescent light too loud. A tumor, that was the word. Not cancer, not yet, but the possibility hung in the air like smoke. He nodded automatically, hearing phrases like benign most likely, surgical removal necessary, and for weeks recovery minimum. The words blurred together until all he could focus on was the fact that someone was going to cut him open when the appointment ended. He stepped out into the cool April air, his phone heavy in his pocket. He thought of the first person he should call. Not his sister Maya. She lived across the country, and he didn't want to scare her yet. Not his parents. They would panic before there was reason to. No. The person he needed to call was Serena Cross, his girlfriend of 3 years. They lived together, shared bills, and shared dreams, or so he thought. He hit dial. "Hey, babe," Serena answered, her voice distracted. He could hear typing in the background, her nails clicking against the keyboard. "What's up?" Adrian's throat felt tight. "I just got out of the doctor's. Remember that pain I've been having? MHM, more typing. They found something. I need surgery." The typing stopped. He heard silence on the other end. Then, surgery? Like serious surgery? "Yeah, April 15th. They need to remove a growth on my kidney." There was another pause. Then her voice sharpened. "April 15th? Wait, that's the week of Vegas." Adrian's stomach dropped. He closed his eyes, gripping the steering wheel of his parked car. "I know. I'm sorry. Maybe you could reschedule." Silence stretched between them, heavy and cold. Then Serena exhaled sharply. "Reschedule Vegas? Do you know how long we've been planning this?" 6 months, Adrian. 6 months. I finally get to have a trip with my friends, and now this? He blinked, stunned. "This is surgery. Serena. A tumor. I don't exactly get to choose the timing. The surgeon has a waiting list. If I delay, it could be months before they can operate again. This is so typical," she muttered, her tone bitter. "I finally planned something for myself, and suddenly there's a crisis." Adrian felt heat rise in his chest. "A tumor isn't a crisis I planned. Serena. It's not like I woke up today and thought, hey, let's ruin Serena's Vegas trip. Whatever, I'll think about it." She hung up. Adrian sat in his car in the hospital parking lot for 20 minutes, staring at nothing, trying to process what just happened. He had pictured Serena by his side, holding his hand before surgery, helping him through recovery. Instead, she looked at his diagnosis like an inconvenience, like a badly timed traffic jam on the road to her fun. That night, when she came home, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor, she looked at him like he had scheduled his medical emergency just to spite her. She dropped her purse on the counter and crossed her arms. "So," she said, "I talked to the girls, and they think it's manipulative that you're asking me to cancel." Adrian stared at her, disbelief washing over him. "Manipulative? I have a tumor. I need surgery." "Which you've apparently had for who knows how long," she snapped. "And now suddenly it's urgent, right before my trip." "The doctor said it was urgent. It's sitting on my kidney, Serena. That's not something you put on hold for a weekend getaway. Doctors always say things are urgent. It's how they make money." Adrian's heart sank. He had known Serena could be selfish at times. She liked things her way, liked her plans uninterrupted, but he never imagined she could look at his health like this. They had been together for 3 years. He had been saving for a ring, planning to propose later that year. And now, faced with something real, something that mattered, she was acting like this was all a plot to ruin her fun. "I need someone here when I get out of surgery," he said, Quietly. Hire a nurse. What? Post-op care nurses. It's a thing. Miranda's mom used one after her hip replacement. You can hire someone. That way, I don't have to cancel on my friends. You want me to hire a stranger instead of having my girlfriend here? I want you to stop making me feel guilty about a trip I've had booked since October. She stormed off to the bedroom. Adrian didn't follow. He slept on the couch that night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if love could survive something like this. The next morning, Serena stood by the door, already dressed for work, her suitcase half-packed for her trip. I'm going to Vegas, she announced. The girls are counting on me. Plus, I already paid for everything. Adrian fell hollow. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Serena? Have fun in Vegas while I have organ surgery? She rolled her eyes. So dramatic. It's outpatient, right? No. 2 to 3 days in the hospital. Whatever. I'm sure you'll be fine. 2 weeks before surgery, Adrian texted her one more time, late at night when the fear of the unknown gnawed at his chest. Asterisk, I'm scared. I've never had surgery before. I really need you there. Asterisk. Her response came 3 hours later. Asterisk, LOL. You actually thought I'd cancel my Vegas trip for your surgery? It's not even cancer. Stop being a baby. Asterisk. Adrian stared at the words until they blurred. His chest felt heavy, his pulse quick. He typed back 2 words, my mistake. After that, he stopped asking. He started making other arrangements. On the morning of April 15th, Serena left for the airport at 5 a.m. She gave him a quick peck on the cheek and said, "Don't die or whatever." Then she wheeled her suitcase out the door. At 8 a.m., Maya Blake, his sister, who had dropped everything to fly across the country, drove him to the hospital. She carried his bag, filled out his paperwork, held his hand when the nurse prepped him for surgery. I still can't believe she went to Vegas, Maya muttered, shaking her head. Her trip, her choice, Adrian said, though the words tasted bitter. Her boyfriend's surgery should trump a girl's trip. Apparently not. The prep nurse, an older woman named Helen Foster, looked up from her clipboard. Is your emergency contact still Serena Cross? Adrian shook his head. No. Changed it to my sister, Maya Blake. Helen nodded, her eyes kind. Good to have family here. Your girlfriend couldn't make it? Maya snorted. She's in Vegas. Helen's eyebrows lifted. Vegas? During your surgery? Booked the trip before we knew about the surgery, Adrian explained. And she still went, Yep. Helen pressed her lips together, clearly holding back what she wanted to say. Well, you're in good hands here. We'll take excellent care of you. The first 24 hours after surgery blurred together for Adrian. Pain medicine dulled the sharp edge in his side, but also left him drifting in and out of sleep. Each time he opened his eyes, he saw Maya nearby, reading a book, fiddling with her phone, or just sitting quietly with a smile that told him he wasn't alone. Serena, on the other hand, was nowhere to be found. She was probably sipping cocktails by a pool in Las Vegas, snapping pictures for Instagram with captions like Girls Trip Vibes and Sin City Never Sleeps. Adrian tried not to think about it. He had bigger things to focus on, like breathing deeply despite the stitches, getting out of bed for short walks, and letting his body begin to heal. But when Maya's phone buzzed that evening and she smirked as she read the screen, Adrian knew exactly who it was. She's been blowing up your phone, Maya said, scrolling through. Want me to answer? No, Adrian muttered, shifting uncomfortably. Maya raised an eyebrow. Want me to not answer while also enjoying reading these aloud? Adrian groaned. Do I have a choice? She grinned and cleared her throat dramatically. Message number 1. Why aren't you answering? Message number 2. Asterisk hello? I know you're mad, but this is childish. Asterisk message number 3. Pick up your phone right now. Shall I continue? Adrian shut his eyes. Let her sweat. By 8 p.m., the hospital room phone rang. Nurse Helen stepped inside, holding the receiver. Her face was composed, but her eyes twinkled with amusement. Mr. Blake, there's a Serena Cross calling from Las Vegas. She insists she's your girlfriend and demands to speak with you. Adrian coughed a laugh. Tell her I'm sleeping. Helen tilted her head knowingly. Are you, though? Absolutely unconscious. Helen's lips curved into a sly smile. Understood. She disappeared into the hallway. 10 minutes later she returned, shaking her head. Persistent. She's called 3 more times. Wanted to give her an update. Adrian shrugged. Tell her whatever you think is appropriate. Helen's smile turned just a little wicked. Oh, I'll handle it. Later. Maya leaned forward in her chair, her voice hushed with excitement. So, Helen told her you were unconscious, that the surgery had complications, and that only immediate family is allowed updates. Serena lost her mind. She's texting like crazy. Want me to read? Adrian smirked despite himself. Go on. Maya scrolled. Asterisk, what do you mean complications? Why is Maya there and not me? This is insane. I'm booking a flight home. If you die, I'll never forgive myself. Asterisk. Maya snorted so hard she almost choked on her coffee. Now she cares. Adrian chuckled weakly, though the laugh hurt his stitches. Dorothy deserves a medal. Her name's Helen, Maya corrected, but her grin matched his. That night, Maya posted a picture on Instagram, her sitting in a chair by his hospital bed, holding a paperback novel, captioned, Best Sister Award goes to me. No location, no mention of Adrian, just an inside joke. Serena must have seen it within the hour. A new barrage of messages followed. Asterisk is at the hospital? Why is Maya posting? What aren't you telling me? I'm coming home. Asterisk. Adrian silenced his phone and drifted back to sleep, exhaustion pulling him under. The next morning, he woke to 73 unread texts and 31 missed calls. Maya had been fielding them through the night. She actually tried to FaceTime me at 3 a.m. from a casino, Maya said, sipping her coffee with relish. You didn't answer, did you? Oh, I answered. I told her you were in the ICU and couldn't have visitors. Adrian blinked. I'm clearly not in the ICU. She doesn't know that. I was vague but concerning. You're evil. I learned from the best, she teased. Remember when you told my ex-boyfriend I joined a cult, so he'd leave me alone? That was different. Nope. Same energy. Besides, she abandoned you for Vegas. Fair's fair. Helen entered then, holding a clipboard, her expression warm. Your girlfriend called a nurse's station 17 times last night. 17. We started a tally. She held up a sheet of paper marked with little lines in clusters of 5. Adrian laughed so hard it hurt. That has to be some kind of record. She's very concerned about your critical condition, Helen added, raising her eyebrows. Adrian frowned. What critical condition? The one she assumed when I said you were unconscious. I never used the word critical. She filled in that blank herself. You're my favorite nurse, Adrian said, shaking his head. 30 years of dealing with difficult families, Helen said dryly. Vegas girlfriend don't scare me. By afternoon, Serena's panic had spilled onto social media. On Facebook, she posted, asterisk emergency. Flying home from Vegas. Adrian is in critical condition. Please pray, asterisk. The comments poured in. Oh my God, what happened? I thought it was routine surgery. Praying for you both. Adrian's phone buzzed with a message from his friend Derek Vaughn. Asterisk, bro, are you dying? Serena's post has you on life support. Asterisk. Adrian groaned. I'm literally eating Jell-O right now. Maya laughed. Critical appetite for hospital food. Please don't let her dig this hole deeper, Adrian muttered. But Serena wasn't slowing down. She posted again from the Vegas airport, mascara streaked down her cheeks, with a caption, asterisk, some things matter more than vacation. Rushing home to my baby. Should never have left. Asterisk. Maya scrolled through the comments. Now she figures that out, she quoted, smirking. Oh! My favorite one is from someone named Elena Brooks. Listen to this. Didn't you just say yesterday that he was being dramatic about the surgery? Adrian blinked. She actually wrote that? Yep. Elena's a real one. Serena had replied beneath it. That was before complications. Maya burst out laughing. Complications like breathing? Because you're very much alive, last I checked. By late afternoon, Dr. Caldwell stopped by with his calm, professional smile. Good news, Adrian. Everything looks great. You can probably go home tomorrow. Adrian blinked. Already? The surgery went perfectly. No reason to keep you here any longer. Hear that? Maya said loudly, smirking. Perfectly. No complications whatsoever. Dr. Caldwell looked puzzled. Complications? Maya thrust her phone at him, showing Serena's posts. His eyebrows shot up. Oh my, that's creative interpretation of post-operative recovery. Vegas was more important, Maya muttered. The doctor cleared his throat. Well, medically speaking, you're doing excellent. Whatever's happening on social media is beyond my expertise. That evening, Serena landed back in town. She called Maya from the taxi. Which hospital? Tell me which hospital. Maya answered calmly, he's sleeping. I don't care. Tell me where. Family only. Doctor's orders. I'm his girlfriend. The girlfriend who went to Vegas during his surgery. Maya snapped before hanging up. Adrian tried to protest, but Maya waved him off. She deserves a taste of her own medicine. And as Serena drove frantically from hospital to hospital, calling every number she could find, Adrian lay back against his pillows, equal parts exhausted and amused. He had gone into surgery fearing the worst about his body. But now, it was becoming clear. The real tumor in his life wasn't the one the doctors had removed. It was the woman he thought he loved. Serena stormed into the hospital 2 hours after landing, heels clicking like gunshots against the polished floor. She wore oversized sunglasses that couldn't hide the exhaustion on her face or the streaks of mascara from her earlier airport meltdown selfie. At the reception desk, she leaned forward, voice sharp. Adrian Blake. Where's his room? The receptionist checked her monitor. Visiting hours are nearly over. I don't care about visiting hours. He's my boyfriend. Where is he? The receptionist gave her a polite but practiced smile. 1 moment, ma'am. She called Nurse Helen on the intercom. 5 minutes later, Helen appeared at the end of the hallway, walking slowly, clipboard in hand, expression unreadable. Serena Cross? Yes. Serena snapped, tugging off her sunglasses. Finally, where is he? Helen studied her calmly. You must be the girlfriend who's been calling every 10 minutes since last night. Serena flushed. Of course I was calling. Nobody would tell me anything. What happened to him? I saw your messages. He's in critical condition. Helen arched an eyebrow. Critical condition? She tapped her pen against the clipboard. No one here said that. You must have made that assumption yourself. Serena faltered for just a second, then straightened. I need to see him. Now! Helen's eyes narrowed slightly. He's recovering well, but he specifically asked for no visitors tonight, especially you. Serena froze, as though slapped. What? Helen didn't flinch. You left town the night before his surgery. He wasn't sure you cared enough to be here. From where I stand, his sister has been the one supporting him. Serena's jaw tightened. I'm his girlfriend. Not her. That's debatable, Helen replied coolly. Still, I'll let him decide. With that, Helen led Serena to the room and opened the door. Adrian was sitting up in bed, dressed in a fresh gown, scrolling lazily through his phone. Maya sat cross-legged in the visitor's chair, eating chips out of a bag, completely at home. Serena burst inside. Adrian. He looked up, startled. Serena? She rushed forward dramatically, throwing her arms around him despite the foreline. Oh, thank God you're alive. I thought. Adrian winced at the pressure on his stitches. Easy, careful. Serena pulled back, tears in her eyes but voice sharpened by guilt. Why didn't you answer? Why did you let me think you were dying? Maya choked on a laugh and had to cover it with a cough. Adrian's gaze hardened. You let yourself think that. No one told you I was dying. But the nurse said... Helen stepped inside behind her, arms folded. I said you were unconscious. That's all. Serena's cheeks flushed scarlet. She spun back to Adrian. I only left because I thought it wasn't serious. It was one little surgery. I didn't know you'd... that there be complications. There weren't any complications, Adrian said flatly. Maya leaned forward in her chair, smirking. Unless you count your trip to Vegas as one. Serena shot her a glare. Stay out of this, Maya. This is between me and him. But Adrian's eyes never left Serena's face. For the first time, he noticed how rehearsed her tears looked, how her voice trembled only when it suited her. He felt something shift inside him, something breaking. I needed you here, Adrian said quietly. And you weren't. Serena stepped closer, lowering her voice into a whisper meant only for him. I'm here now. That's what matters. We can put this behind us. I'll make it up to you. But Adrian shook his head slowly. It doesn't work like that anymore. The room grew still. Maya stopped chewing. Helen lingered in the doorway, watching. Serena's eyes flickered, panic creeping in. What are you saying? Adrian took a deep breath, wincing at the pull in his stitches. But his voice came out clear. I'm saying that while the doctors removed the tumor from my body, maybe it's time I remove the other one from my life. Maya's eyes widened, a smile tugging at her lips. Helen's pen paused over her clipboard. Serena stared at him as though she hadn't heard right. You can't be serious. But Adrian didn't waver. For the first time in weeks, he felt strangely free. The silence in the hospital room stretched thin. Serena stood frozen, her manicure hands trembling as if the word removed had sliced straight through her. You're joking, she said finally, her voice sharp, desperate. Adrian, this is the medication talking. You don't mean that. But Adrian's eyes didn't flinch. For once, I think the medication is making me see more clearly. Maya smirked from her chair, crunching another chip. Best line you've ever delivered. Serena snapped, Stay out of this. Maya lifted her hands in mock surrender, but her grin never faded. Serena's voice rose again, a frantic edge cutting through her practiced sobs. You can't just throw everything away. I came back for you. I left my trip early for you. You shouldn't have left in the first place, Adrian said calmly. That was the moment you made your choice. I just hadn't realized it yet. Serena's eyes darted around the room, as if searching for an ally, but Helen stood by the door with professional detachment. Maya looked delighted at the drama, and Adrian looked on. After everything I've done for you, Serena started, but Adrian cut her off with a quiet, steady voice. Everything you've done has always been for you. Serena froze, lips parting. I needed you when I was scared, Adrian continued. When I was facing surgery, when I thought about all the things that could go wrong. But you weren't here. Maya was. The nurses were. Even strangers online will probably offer more honest prayers than you ever met with your posts. Maya clapped softly. And that's checkmate. Serena turned on her, eyes flashing. You wanted this. You've always wanted him to yourself. Maya leaned forward, resting her chin in her hand. No, Serena. I wanted him with someone who cared. Clearly, that isn't you. Serena looked back at Adrian, her voice breaking. So that's it. Adrian nodded slowly. That's it. The words landed like the final suture being tied shut. No more bleeding. No more waiting for healing. The wound was closed. Serena's face hardened. She grabbed her purse, shoved her sunglasses back on, and muttered, You'll regret this. Doubt it, Maya murmured. Serena spun on her heel and stormed out of the room, her heels clattering down the hall until the sound faded. For a long moment, the room was quiet again. Adrian leaned back against the pillows, exhaling deeply. The weight he hadn't even realized he was carrying seemed to lift, leaving behind a surprising lightness. Helen scribbled something on her clipboard and said gently, That, Mr. Blake, was probably healthier than the surgery itself. She gave him a nod of approval and stepped out. Maya crumpled her empty chip bag and tossed in the trash, then leaned forward, her grin wide. Well, big brother, guess you're officially tumor-free. Adrian laughed, wincing at the stitches but unable to stop the sound. For the first time in a long while, it felt good, clean, honest, and real. He looked at his sister, at the empty doorway where Serena had stood, and realized something simple but powerful. Sometimes the things we think we can't live without are the very things holding us back from living at all.